Hi, my name is Rob Healey at the Minillo Law Group, and I'm here today to answer some common questions I get from clients and prospective clients. What are the penalties for a first-time OVI in Ohio? OVI, if convicted, carries 6 points on your license. It's a misdemeanor of the first degree, punishable by 3 days in jail or 3 days in a weekend driver intervention program, up to 180 days in jail. The fines range from $375 to $1,075 plus costs. You could be ordered to complete treatment and counseling. You could be placed on probation up to 5 years. Your license could be suspended between 1 and 3 years. In Ohio, can you refuse a breathalyzer? Absolutely. 2 different kinds. At the roadside, they might ask you to blow into a portable device. Those devices may be used in some courts to determine probable cause in the pretrial phase of the case, but generally they're not accepted by the Department of Health, and by administrative regulation, those handheld devices are not admissible as evidence at trial. The evidentiary breath test machines approved in Ohio, you would generally be taken back to the police station and they would observe you for 15 minutes to make sure that you don't ingest anything into your mouth, and they would ask you to blow in the machine. You can't be forced to blow in the machine. You don't necessarily have a right to refuse, but you have the option. What's the difference between a DUI and an OVI? So back around 2001 in Ohio, the legislature changed the definition of driving under the influence, and then they adopted operating under the influence, added a few things to it. They also changed around the penalties a little bit, made the suspension a little bit longer, things like that. But generally speaking, there's not a lot of difference. Driving under the influence or operating under the influence essentially means you're moving the car and you've consumed some drugs or alcohol, and that drugs and alcohol has caused your ability to operate a motor vehicle to be appreciably or noticeably impaired. Can I be charged with an OVI if I'm on my prescription medication? Absolutely. Now, if you took a blood or urine test and the results came back over the limit for a prohibited drug, but you're prescribed that medication, as long as the medication was given to you by a physician for legitimate medical purposes and taken as directed, it's an affirmative defense to being over the limit for your prescribed medication. However, you could still be charged with being under the influence of it. So even though your doctor gives you a prescription for something and you take it, you were prescribed it, you can't be held liable for being over the limit of it. But if you're under the influence of it and you wreck your car and the cops come, they're going to give you a DUI. Even if it's not prescription medication or street drugs, there's dangerous chemicals. You can inhale things at work like solvents, paints, epoxies, other dangerous chemicals that can cause you to be under the influence of them. And if you got on the road and get pulled over, you could be given a DUI for that as well. But it's very uncommon. What should you do if you're arrested for an OVI? Number 1, invoke your right to remain silent. I advise that people don't take any chemical tests by blood, breath, or urine once they're under arrest until they talk with an attorney. Are DUI checkpoints legal in Ohio? Yes. The case law has come out and the courts have found that they are constitutional. They happen. They're not very efficient if you look at the statistics for the volume of people that drive through them. They're just not a good use of resources, in my opinion. The target time that we see most OVIs is between midnight and 3 in the morning when everybody's leaving bars. The only people out at that time are usually police and people leaving bars. So it's not a good time to be driving around. And as my dad always said, nothing good happens after midnight. Can a DUI or OVI in Ohio be expunged? In Ohio, if you're a juvenile and you get an OVI, it is eligible to be sealed and expunged. As an adult, an OVI conviction is specifically excluded from being able to be sealed if you're convicted. But if your charge is dismissed, or if you are acquitted, meaning a judge or jury found you not guilty, then that is able to be sealed. How does an OVI become a felony? Ohio has a look-back period, used to be 6 years, now it's 10. So if you get an OVI, they're going to look back 10 years to see if you have any prior OVI convictions in this or any other jurisdiction of a similar statute. Most OVI, DUI, DWI, statutes are the same throughout the country. If you're convicted in Ohio of an OVI and you've got 3 prior convictions in the last 10 years, that's going to be a felony. It's a felony of the 4th degree. If you get a 5th OVI in 10 years, it's a 4th degree felony. If you're convicted of a felony OVI, every OVI for the rest of your life in Ohio will be a felony OVI. And you can also get a felony OVI if you have 6 convictions in 20 years, meaning you had 5 priors, get a new one, and get convicted. How long will an OVI stay on your record? If you're convicted of an OVI as an adult, it'll be on your record forever, unless you hire an attorney and the conviction is overturned somehow. For instance, if you pled guilty and it was somehow a defective plea, that plea could be withdrawn and then the case could be relitigated. But generally, if it's on your record, it's there forever. So what is operating a motor vehicle under the influence of alcohol? So in Ohio, there's a jury instruction that says that if you find that a person consumed some drugs or some alcohol or a combination of the two and operated a motor vehicle and their ability to operate that vehicle was appreciably or noticeably impaired by any quantity of alcohol or drugs, small or great, then you could find them guilty of being under the influence. So the field sobriety test, should you take them? I always say no. I went through the same training offered by NHTSA, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. It's called Standardized Field Sobriety Training. And it took us days of studying, and nobody got it perfect on the first time. Even when it came time for graduation, everybody's got to do it perfectly before you graduate. To take someone on the side of the road in the middle of the night that's nervous, that got pulled over by the cops, lights might be flashing, it is the worst place in the world, it's not a laboratory, and they're going to be telling you things. And if you suffer from anything like anxiety, you might be missing some of the instructions. If they observe any clues or indicators, they're going to use that against you to try to say that you're under the influence of drugs or alcohol. It's a safe bet to just refuse. If you or someone you know has legal problems or questions, give us a call at the Minillo Law Group, 513-723-1600.